Hi, this is Dylan Andrews with Ear Training for Guitar, and here are my top 5 ear training mistakes that I've made and that I see almost every other guitarist training their ear make as well. Number 1 is learning ear training in a linear way. Here's exactly what I mean by this. If you think back to when you were in school and learning math, right? You have to learn adding and subtracting first, then dividing and multiplying, and the ladders just keep going up and up. This is an example of learning linearly, where you learn step by step. You don't want to do this in ear training. So I made this mistake when I was first doing it, where I would try to train my ear on hearing, let's say, a second or third interval, and I would just stick there and train and train and train on that, or train on any interval in isolation, and I wouldn't move on to anything else until I got that down. And what happens was I got very frustrated because it was taking so long, and I got very bored. So my practice time was inconsistent. I didn't follow through and stay with a lot of practice that I had planned on doing, and it really hurt my ear. So learning linearly is very boring and a very frustrating way to do that. I tried, doesn't work. I know a lot of people have other people have tried this and it doesn't work, and I would not recommend training your ear in this way. The second big mistake that I made was by using ear training apps. I don't know if you've ever downloaded an ear training app, but I've downloaded pretty much all of them, and none of them really helped me develop my ear. Now, I did make a video going way deeper into this you can check out, but ear training apps just aren't very effective in developing your ear to a really high level. It is taught in a very linear way, and I relied on the app to fix all of my problems when I really shouldn't, and I should have studied and found other ways to train my ear faster. Mistake number 3 that really hurt me was relating songs to intervals. This is one of the most common ear training things to do, where like a perfect fifth is Star Wars, a flat 2 is Jaws, a perfect fourth is the wedding song, right? And this is a very short-term help. Now, this is taught in a lot of music schools. In my music school, we were trained to do this. And what it does very well is allows you to identify intervals in isolation, and it works extremely well to pass tests, all right? But to develop a high-level ear, you want to be able to transcribe music and listen to music and play music. And the problem with identifying intervals to songs is when you actually hear those intervals in music, they're not going to sound like those songs at all. Those intervals have to be played exactly how they were played in the song, or in isolation, or they're not going to sound the same, right? And let's take a perfect fifth, for example. Well, perfect fifths happen in keys multiple ways, right? So let's say we're in the key of G. Going from G to D is a perfect fifth. Those are the scale degrees, going from the first scale degree to the fifth scale degree. But if I were to then play A to E, which that is a fifth interval too, then in the key of G, I'm playing a second interval to a sixth interval. So that's a perfect fifth, but now it's not starting on the 1, the scale degree. So that's where it kind of falls apart. So, and if that doesn't make total sense, it's completely fine, but identifying songs to intervals doesn't really help you that much when you're actually transcribing real music. Fourth big mistake I made was having inconsistent practice. Now, this is a very obvious one, but this is the kind of big one that hurts everybody, is being very inconsistent in your practice, and not making a plan for the week of exactly when you're going to train your ear and do this. And I think the big problem with this and why this happens is people listen to their feelings and their mood way too much. So if you have a goal and you want to reach a certain level, you want to develop your ear to where you can do X, you need to think about the end result and not the moment. So if you plan on practicing that day and you don't feel like it, well, that's okay. You are completely fine to feel that way, but it doesn't matter. You have to practice. You have your set times, and I think people talk about motivation a lot, but motivation honestly is irrelevant. Motivation is a really nice thing to have. It's like a bonus. When you feel real motivated to do something, it's awesome, but you cannot rely on this because you are not going to feel motivated most of the time, but you need to think about the end goal. Is the end goal being able to transcribe songs by ear, being able to be a more effective musician, a more intentional musician, a better player, become the player you want to be? Is that goal important enough to practice even when you don't feel like it? So for me, when I don't feel like doing things, My first thought is, so what? Do it anyway. All right. And then also I focus on the end goal. Well, if I know I do this, then I'll get closer to X. So big mistake is having inconsistent practice times because I was just listening to my feelings and let that dictate my actions. And the fifth big mistake I made was not actually using my own guitar to help me train my ear. So you would listen to, let's say, ear training apps or listen to other things over and over and over, but never actually physically touching and playing the guitar to help train my ear. And there's a lot of different ways and things that you can do that to use your guitar to help. And what I've done for you is I've put together a video that contains 5 different easy and effective ways to train your ear that you can do where you actually use your guitar to help you. The link is in the description below, so you can check that out. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you can see more videos just like this.